There's a guy who, what is his name, Mark, who built SailPoint here in Austin, Texas. He's had the company for about 20 years, and the market cap's currently 8.6 billion or something or other. And he said something along the lines of, how you can tell the experience that an executive or a founder or an entrepreneur has based on how much humility they have, because either the marketplace, their life, or just like the business itself has humbled them, right? And so this idea of like, oh, hey, I'm just going to take 10% of the market share of this, industry, and that's going to give us the ability to have this much worth, and then we're going to exit in 5 years, and all this stuff is like, oh, okay, first company. Um, what I've found is that there's sometimes the idea of like, hey, let's go all in and I will find a way or make a way or this will work, right? Similar to yourself, there's also someone I worked for a fiber internet company in Houston, right? That was his second company, 9-figure sort of company, right? And then there's also a, hey, I have maybe 50 or 100 grand. I'm going to try this out for X number of time or days and then potentially, let it go, right? I'll ask that question of what sort of thought process would you recommend others, feel out? And then I want to discuss a book that I've previously read that has an additional perspective to discuss that as well.
Yeah, so the thought process is this. And that's why some people say, can you train somebody to be an entrepreneur or is it in you? And I think it's mostly in you because the thought process is you have to be okay with having nothing. And it may be a cliche, but I think it's very true because you're going to put your blood, sweat, and tears into this. And most startups, 90% of them don't succeed.
Yeah.
And you have to be okay with the math of like, there's a good chance that no matter how hard I work, how smart the idea is, that I may end up with no money and nothing. And I think that answers the second part of what you said about humility. Like, you can't take it personal and you can't think that you're going to do this by yourself and you have to be this confident, conceited founder. It's the
Yeah.
exact opposite. You have to be so humble. You have to be so accountable because you have to fall on the sword.
Yeah.
People think being a founder, it's fun. It's like, no, you're the bad guy. You take the risk. You have to fall on the sword every single time. And when things go well, you can't and don't want to take the credit. You have to push that credit onto your employees because they're the ones doing the hard work and you have to keep them motivated. So it's like the humility of that is such a mind. Can I curse on this podcast?
I mean, we're gonna find out.
It's such a mind fuck. And I think having empathy as well. It's like what you said earlier really stuck with me about finding the right people, putting them in the right seats, and just driving the bus. If
Yeah.
people don't believe in you and people don't understand how hard it is,
Hmm.
they're not going to want to be part of the journey. So, yeah, that's what I would say. It's like you have to have such a specific personality and mindset, be very humble, and know that the type of leader that you're going to end up being throughout this process is going to be extremely difficult, and people are going to really rely on you as a leader.
Yeah. So yeah, that book you referenced, this book I read a while ago called "Good to Great" by Jim Collins, right? Getting people on the bus and then ensuring they're in, the right seat. Another book that I thoroughly recommend to everyone who's an entrepreneur, right, is a book called "Launch in 5." And it goes through a lot of tactics around how to grow and scale, specifically a SaaS company, right? Do you run ads? Do you do a community? Again, sell with a PowerPoint, sell with an LOI, right? Letter of intent to say, hey, if we build this, would you buy? Here's the price point we're thinking. Right now, if you put a 10% deposit, that would secure the ability for, you to be a customer, right? Little different way about going about it, but it ensures that people aren't just curious about your product. They're actually willing to, implement and buy. That tends to be more of a B2B type solution, right? Not really going to go to a customer and say, hey, what do you give us $1? You also might do that. It also has some really cool examples about, different companies, how they raised money from just their community or all these different things. Ultimately, more about how they've been able to focus and build and scale and really then create a company. And really the difference between service and SaaS. So, service being, hey, I'm going to serve you, customer. What are your problems? Here's my solution, right? Did you buy? Thumbs up, thumbs down, as opposed to, hey, I'm going to build a SaaS company. It's going to look super cool. It's going to do this, and this. Imagine building a concrete house and then asking someone to move in. That's very different than, hey, like, let's draw up some blueprints and see, like, if you would like this or want this or things like that, right? which is a lot more of a B2C type of play. B2B, you can kind of go in the middle, or you can even give them a concrete house and then try to upsell them or change some walls, right? B2C is incredibly challenging.